This is Eldritch Song of Seraphim, a Magic Online clan. And I'm here with another cube draft. So, let's take a look at what we've got. So, black has some interesting cards. Profane Command, Bane of the Living, Disfigure, even Phyrexian Processor is more of a black card than anything. See, other colors. Not too much going on in red, just Earthquake. White's kind of weak. Green's very weak. So definitely the best color in this pack is probably black. There's also Cryptic Command, which is a pretty amazing blue card, but not, super duper powerful. There's also Sensei's Top, which is pretty sick. So there's a few directions we can go with this. Could take Earthquake, cut off red basically, and go into that color. Could take the top and just stay open for another pack or so. Likewise, could take blue. That would throw me into more of a control-ish type build. I'm not too worried about that, I suppose. I don't want to have to fight, everybody else in the draft for blue, so it depends on what the other packs look like. Top is pretty good, though. And that would leave me more open. I'm going to go ahead and take the top and pass the rest of these and see what the next pack says. Alright, so I think the second pack is saying black is open. It's a Mind Twist, which is a pretty solid card. Then again, the problem with that is I'm passing some pretty sweet black cards, and notably Juzam Jin, but now Spectre and Nantuko Shade are all pretty good. Blue looks to be open as well, at least so far. It's hard to tell what's missing from this pack. Well, impossible really, so I think the best card in the pack is just Mind Twist, and it can be Splash, so if you don't end up heavy black, we can still play it. Unlike, Capture or Jace, or even any of the red cards we've got here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Mind Twist. And that seems like a pretty solid pick. Alright, so there's a couple of cards in here that I like. First of all, there is Kokusho, the Evening Star, which is probably the pick. There's also Necromancy, which is a solid card. Unfortunately, if I was going to play Reanimate, I'd want to be in either green or blue as my secondary color. Maybe even play 3 colors. I don't think I want to pick up a Reanimate spell this early. Rather go ahead and take the Kokusho and then pass. And see what else this draft holds. Because this might end up more of a black control type build as opposed to a Reanimate type strategy. So, it's a few cards. There's the Imperial Seal, which is pretty solid. Some very aggressive green cards here. Troll, Rootralla, Wild Dogs. Don't think the cards we have so far we're going to go into an aggressive build, so I don't really want to pick up those. The cards I'm looking at really are Imperial Seal and Black Vice. I think Imperial Seal is probably better at this point, but I wouldn't mind if Vice came back. Definitely a very good card, and can help us find answers if we need to. So we've got a pretty control-ish build going on so far, but we'll see what the next packs have. This pack makes things quite a bit more interesting. So packed into here are 2 Reanimate spells. There's also Dark Confidant, which is solid. We could try for a black aggro build. If that's the case, probably not going to play Kokusho. But could snatch up the Confidant, maybe wheel the Carnophage, and play something along those lines. Or could move into a Reanimate build and pick up like Diabolic Servitude. and maybe hope to wield a necromancy. These both these blue cards are okay, not enough really to make me want to go into that color. Or I could just still stick with kind of a mid-range type build and grab the Still Moon Cavalier. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. Um, I think I'd like to try for an aggro build. I'm going to go ahead and try the Dark Confidant. I've never actually played with him successfully, so I want to be able to put that on my record. Alright, so we've got some decent blue cards. Looks like blue might be still open, but I'd rather go ahead and take this Vampire Nighthawk, I think. And hopefully wield a Fume Spitter, if at all possible. So might not be playing the top or the Kokusho. We'll see what happens, but the Confidant kind of changes our strategy. Now we want to get low-costed aggressive creatures. Maybe branch into a second color, preferably white. I guess white, green, or red would be fine as a pairing. But we'll see. Alright, so new pack. And we're back to our first pack again. And it seems to me that we really have 2 or 3 choices here. I don't really want to branch out into white at this point. Not for these cards. And green's not looking too good here either. So we've got Bane of the Living, which is more of a mid-range card. More controllers, kind of like what we had going for us with the top Mind Twist and Kokusho. There's also Black Knight, more of an aggressive card, and Phyrexian Processor was more of a mid-range control type card also. Personally, I kind of like the Bane, just as a kind of form of mass removal. And we don't necessarily have to change. I mean, we do, like, one thing that to consider is that, I kind of want to go aggro, but then again, if we went aggro, that would lower the effectiveness of the top and also the Kokusho. It would be a lot easier just to drop the Confidant and pick up the rest of these cards without having to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Bane. I think stronger card than the Processor or the Black Knight. This pack is actually quite surprising. I didn't expect any of this, really. Capture came back. So did Juzam Jin. It's very awkward that Capture came back. I think Juzam Jin probably is the pick here, and we're looking more mid-range than aggro. But wow, the Capture, the blue. I mean, anybody playing blue should want Capture. I'm not sure why that came back. But I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Juzam Jin, and hopefully wield the Spectre. And just as a note, the draft is currently with 6 players, so something out of this pack will be wheeling. Alright, so here we don't really have too much, except we do have an Overgrown Tomb. This not necessarily mean anything, but we could pick up the Tomb and maybe play green as our second color. Well, it's worth picking up. I don't think there's anything else in this pack that we really want anyway. So might as well grab the dual land. And that leaves us open to a few things. So like I said, probably not aggro, so I kind of like Regrowth if I'm going to pick any of these cards. Don't really want any of these aggro cards. Crystal Shard's not that good in this deck, so I'm not playing blue yet, or at all, I don't think. But passing the Capture probably cemented somebody else in blue. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Regrowth. Alright, so I guess I have no problem just going ahead and grabbing the Carnophage. And passing the rest of this on. So we are pretty heavy in black at this point. And green's a possibility, and we have a dual land to make it easier. Nothing really here either. Lots of aggro creatures, dual lands, kind of bad blue creature. Don't really want any of these. Let's go ahead and take I guess. This is a nice surprise. The Phyrexian Processor is actually the card I wanted to wheel from this pack. It's a very nice pick here. And actually, Convict Titan wouldn't be too bad if we actually do end up playing green. It's a creature that can come down early or come down late, so it could go into kind of an aggro or a mid-range deck. So might not make it into the main deck, but might as well pick it up. Call to Her is kind of weak. Don't like that card either, really. All right. So the card that's standing out to me. Actually, there's a couple of cards that are standing out to me. Let's see the. Yeah, mainly just two cards. So the ones I like are Spiritmonger and Sword of Light and Shadow. And I think probably I want to pick up the sword. The sword is quite good, and we do have some decent creatures to throw it on. Spiritmonger though just seems awesome, and I guess if we ended up with Spiritmonger, if we took the sword, I guess we're kind of hoping that nobody else is in black and green at the same time, and then we could possibly get them both. I'm pretty sure that if I grab Spiritmonger here, the sword is going to be taken up pretty quick. Kind of wondering what's better at this point. We're not 100% sure we want to be in green. If we pick Spiritmonger, we're kind of angling that way. The sword will keep us independent for a while, and then if this Spiritmonger comes back, that's a pretty good sign we want to stay in this color. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll take the sword and pass the Monger, and hopefully it'll come back. If not, we'll just go into a different color. I guess the card that's... I guess there are really, two cards standing out to me. One is Distress, and the other is the Puppeteer. So I do think we're more controllish now than we were before. So having a pretty solid discard spell wouldn't be totally out of line. Then again, there is Oona, which can be played in a mono-black deck. I don't think you can pass a bomb like that around, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the Oona. And leave the rest of this. Maybe get back the Distress or the Puppeteer would be fine. So there are a couple cards in here that really stand out. There's a Reanimate spell, which is actually pretty good. It's also Garruk and Chameleon Colossus. Of the two, I think I like Garruk better. A bit more versatile and can really end the game for you. I think that's probably what I'm going to pick here. I mean, there's not any black cards I want. I don't really want any of these red cards. The most impressive probably is these Avalanche Riders. The rest of these are kind of mediocre. And this one almost makes me wish I was in white at some point, but I like the way this looks. And I think Garruk seems like a pretty solid pick. This is interesting. So the cards Mimic Vat and Shriek Maw are the ones screaming out to me. There's also Solemn Simulacrum, but we don't really need him that bad since we're only playing in two colors at most right now. Let's take a look at what we've got that could take advantage of Mimic Vat. Not really too much. I think I'll go ahead and grab it. And I'm not sure whether the Shriek Maw will come back. It's gotta be somebody else in black. But we'll see. Not really anything here that I like. I guess Harrow looks nice, but we're not really a ramp type deck. But ramp can't hurt, I don't think. Plow Under is not really the card I want either. And Nether Void just does not seem good to me. If it only affected your opponents, then I could see that card being decent, but it just seems like it's just a game staller more than anything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab Harrow out of here. That'll help get us up to our bigger creatures. I want a Kokosho. Make sure that we have enough mana for everything else. This pack seems like sort of a no-brainer. There really are about 3 cards in here that I really like. The Edict, the Tombstalker, Puppet Strings, and it's very, very weird that Control Magic is in here. Because 4 mana for a Mind Control spell is insane. What are people doing? I don't know, but I can't pass up a Diabolic Edict. Wish I had gone into blue. Wow, Control Magic, that's nuts. So if I get back Tombstalker or Puppet Strings, they'll be fine. Someone did take the Spirit Monger. That's awkward. So then there's a couple choices left in this one. Out of all these, I kind of like Phantom Centaur the best. Pro Black seems pretty solid. Fauna Shaman, no. I don't really want to be discarding anything. And I'm not playing Reanimate, so it's not really going to help. So Phantom Centaur seems like the best pick in this pack. Well, at least no one's playing Grixis. And here, I guess I like Eternal Witness. Seems pretty solid. Definitely, though, wish I had gone into blue. Maybe I could have splashed for the Nicole Bolas, but hindsight. Didn't realize somebody was going to go into black and green and pick up the Spirit Monger. But then again, having protection from black with the sword seems like it might be better. And a Chameleon Colossus comes back, which tells me green's pretty open, strangely. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Colossus. Maybe the Acidic Slime will come back. That would be nice. Like I said, I'm not really too into ramp, so don't really want the elves. I think I'd rather have a stable stag against the mirror, which I'm sure I'm going to be facing, and against maybe blue decks. So gonna go ahead and grab that and leave the elves for some other deck to play around with. And honestly, here none of these cards do anything for me at all. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and take the Ankh of Mishra. And I think it's clear that no one's playing Reanimate. Well, someone has to be playing that, 'cause, I don't know, I'm not sure why this Leviathan's so late if somebody's playing Reanimate. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Ankh. Just to keep it off somebody else. This draft has been rather strange. I cancel. But playable here. Actually, Juggernaut's not a bad creature, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And, well, if I'm going to be forced to take one of these two, why not take Fauna Shaman? And someone's been taking all the Reanimate spells, but they didn't take Buried Alive. That seems a bit weird, but I'll go ahead and take that. Because I don't need the Signet, that's for sure. And a Gorilla Shaman. Interesting. Tutor, Land Tax, Primus, Hex Mage. To be honest, though, the creature that, the card I like the best out of this pack is Skin Render. Everything else seems pretty mediocre. I would like to get the tutor, but if someone else is playing black, they'll likely pull it out of this pack. Um, and I guess if a wheel Hex Mage or the Primus, I'll be happy. Yeah, that looks fine. Alright. And nothing here is really catching my attention that much. If I grabbed Lantax, the next pick would obviously be the Zurian Orb, but I didn't do that. Revelark is solid, but not really the colors I'm in anymore. I guess the card that I just need to pick here is Basilisk Collar. Nothing else here really does much of anything. Except maybe Skull Cage, but I don't know. I'd rather have a good spell. Clearly nobody's playing blue to my right. And Neverall's Disc is decent. If that comes back, I might pick that up. But I don't think I can pass it by Phyrexian Arena. So that's the pick here. And straight into our next one. Alright, don't really want a Teferi. And don't really want a Cloud Thresher. Or a sword for that matter. I guess RN Viper is the pick. And I do kind of like the Viper. It's a nice card draw effect, and it is hard to get around. Okay, now we're talking. So kind of torn. Well, I guess I'm not torn. I mean, there are two really awesome black cards. I like the Spectre because it's a great discard effect, but a board wipe for 4 mana is just, you can't pass that up. So I'm gonna grab Damnation and hopefully will the Spectre. But like I said, someone else is in black, obviously, so probably not. Okay, well, this is kind of a no-brainer also. It's not really anything for my deck except for Greyborn Muse, and I do like. It's kind of having it's like having another Phyrexian Arena out. So card draw is always a plus as long as you can survive it. So yeah, that's the pick here. I don't really like Master Admirer. It's pretty mana intensive, but if it does come back around, I'll pick it before I pick the elves. Alright, so Woodfall Primus came back. It's pretty green intensive, but it's possible to play it. But then again, I'll do like Wickerbow Elder, and I don't really have a way to destroy artifacts or enchantments as of yet. So I think it's pretty solid to pick that, because I'm probably not going to have too many other options after this pack. So, well, I'm not going to have any options after this pack, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the Elder. It's also a pretty solid creature, and a lot easier to play than the Primus. So you got the choice between really Nezumi, Grave Robber, and Evolution Charm here. Let's see. And this is more of a reanimate type card. The Charm, though, probably more useful. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Charm and leave the Grave Robber for somebody that likes gimmicky spells like that. I actually like Mastercore here. It's a decent creature. I guess Kodama's Reach is good. It is a ramp spell, very similar to the other one we picked up. If I can remember where it is, somewhere around here. Between these two, that's clear enough. And I cannot believe Brainstorm. I don't understand. I think I'd rather have another creature than a ramp spell. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Mastercore. Alright, I guess here I'll just go ahead and pick up. I guess between Sword and Bottle Gnomes. Don't really want the Morphling, can't play that. Can't play Vandals. Mirror Jar, I don't like this type of effects. And, actually, I kind of like bottle gnomes better than the sword, but the sword is pretty strong. Yeah, I guess sword it is. I'm not sure whether I'll play it, but it's nice to have some equipment to throw down in there. And here, there's actually nothing at all for the deck I've built so far. Um, I guess I'd rather take a counterspell from the blue deck. Could take a white knight from somebody, but uh, I think I have enough black creatures that I could overcome that. And wow, a Gifts Ungiven and a Palinchron. Blue was wide open, and I feel pretty embarrassed I didn't jump into that color. As soon as I saw that capture of Jing Zhao, I should have been all over that. I guess I'll go ahead and take the Master Myers, though. And Tinker? Really? Alright, so that's gonna be the pick. And let's take the Zerain Orb and pass somebody a Signet. And take a Well Nicotl. Alright, so that's the draft. That it's kind of awkward. Lots of blue, and I should have gone to that color, but I'm in green, so we'll see how that works, and we'll get to the deck building in just a while, but thanks for watching. Alright, so it's deck building time. Okay, Mind Twist is going to come in. Kokosho, Skin Render, Juzam Jin, the Muse, Damnation, Bane, Nighthawk, Arena, Edict, Imperial Seal. And let's see here. Eternal Witness I like. Centaur, Garrick, Chameleon Colossus, the Elder, the Viper, I suppose the Harrow. Oona comes in, Processor comes in, Sword of Light and Shadow, Mimic Vat, Top. It's not a bad curve. Not many 2-drops. Let's see what could make it in. I think I'm good on black. This Master Mirrors, maybe Regrowth, Evolution Charm, kind of the same thing. Almost. Shaman, not really though. I don't like the Shaman that much in this deck. Sword of Vengeance, Collar, Phyrexian. I think the Phyrexian Processor just has to come in. I think I'd rather have the Processor over a Harrow. And Eternal Witness, maybe have an Evolution Charm instead. Or a Regrowth, actually, I like that better. It's more parity there. Curve's actually kind of low, so I don't really need any ramp. Yeah, I think I like this. Let's look at colors. Yeah, definitely heavy black, a little bit less so on the green. I don't think the sword or the color is that vital. I only have 12 creatures. Sword would help, though. I think Top's still a good card. I'm just wondering whether or not it's right for this deck. Or maybe even replace the Masticore with a Sword of Vengeance. Just having that in there makes me feel a bit better about the deck. I think that looks fine. I guess it's okay. Sword could come in, I suppose, at another point, but I'd rather just leave that alone for at this point in time, and just grab some Scars lands. I've been playing 17 lands a lot, so that looks good. And I think in this deck it's pretty easy just to go 10 and 7. Let's go ahead and add 6, maybe pull in one more forest there, and come in with the Overgrown Tomb. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's fine. And that's the deck. Pretty easy curve. Looks fine, so I will see you in the matches. Alright, so round one, and I'm facing Mafoy 1